The Asia-Pacific region is the world's most natural disaster-prone area. In 2016, natural disasters in the region caused more than 5,000 deaths and economic losses worth approximately $77 billion. The Multinational Communications Interoperability Program aims to enable communication during a natural disaster crisis. MSIP works with multinational mission partners, refining tactics, techniques, and procedures for humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations.
One of the main things that we do is to show the nations how to set up a multinational military coordination cell, to establish that communication cell early and then be able to call in other nations for support.
Pacific Endeavor 2017 brought together 20 partner nations to San Jose, California. This marked the first time the U.S. Pacific Command hosted a Pacific Endeavor exercise in the continental United States. The exercise focuses on leveraging technology between military, civilian, and non-governmental organizations working in the cyber, electromagnetic spectrum, and satellite communication domains.
It allows us to come together, build partnerships, and more importantly, build process and procedures that can be used for disaster preparedness and response.
We can't stop disasters. Natural disasters, they're bound to happen. But the best we can do is at least save lives when it occurs.
When you talk about HADR or disaster response, in this case, we actually acknowledge already that we cannot do it alone. Yeah. It's not from the civilian domain or military domain. It have to be combined.
The main focus this year was one of the areas was a tabletop exercise that focused on a fictitious nation that we made of Pacifica being hit by a typhoon. That brought in all of our what we call corporate board members, which are senior military officers from the nations within the Indo-Pacific area. So they came together to work on specifically communication problems relating to a HADR response.
The corporate board is comprised of one senior representative from each nation. They develop and lead the MSIP throughout its planning cycle and into execution at Pacific Endeavor. This year, the corporate board also served as the targeted training audience through a well-defined tabletop exercise. This TTX exposed them to situations they would likely face as their country's J6 or senior communicator during a natural disaster event. The tabletop also afforded them the benefit of responding to critical communications support items in the role of responding nations' J6s through a series of scenario injections.
We create environment so the participant can actually exercise themselves in what we call a tabletop exercise. Yeah. So we create an environment that reflect the ground reality of the disaster.
We cannot predict when the disaster will occur, but in order to reduce the impact, should always be prepared.
How do you deal with requests that coming out from the hospital to you, say, I don't have comms, can you support us? Yeah, this is not a request that you get every day.
The tabletop exercise is driven by members of the White Cell.
It's through the White Cell that we help to bring the most realistic exercise possible. And this year we are bringing injects from disasters that struck last year, the communications challenges that were presented to the HADR world last year.
Nature never tells us what, where, and when disaster is going to be. But if we do beforehand to see what capability we have, so everything we prepare for that. So one day it happens, we are ready for that.
The two-week capstone event also provides an opportunity for partner nation members to work together during classroom and field exercises that are a part of the Cyber and SATCOM Endeavor modules.
SATCOM Endeavor focuses on the satellite communication so that any nation, for any disaster, they could easily use this communication to facilitate the disaster response activities.
I was teaching them the principles of how you install a satellite terminal so that they would then be able to relay these principles to their men And for me, it's a question of making sure that they are able to install satellite communications as efficiently and quickly and to a high level.
I've seen the evolution and the different types of innovations over the years and how we communicate with just basic cable radios. Now we're using satellites.
Building on a technological foundation, Cyber Endeavor introduces the multinational participants to real-world computer networking issues and solutions.
Cyber Endeavor is helping the participants of Pacific Endeavor to increase their knowledge and awareness of the tools and techniques that can help protect against cyber attacks, cyber incidents, or exposure.
After this, by going to my country, okay, I'm going to tell those guys, okay, that we have these systems. This can avoid the problems in the cyber system. Basically, I got lots of information about the cyber systems in this by coming in this place.
The Interoperability Assessments module tests the compatibility of each nation's communications systems in order to maximize their operating potential during a disaster.
Interoperability assessment is about bringing the countries together in terms of interoperating the communication equipment. It's all about establishing communications to save lives.
We work on procedures and processes and actually on the equipment and have them work together. This year we're focusing on a data architecture that will support a multinational coordination center staff and what that data architecture would look like.
The Pacific Senior Communicators Meeting provides an open forum for multinational flag-level officers to discuss information and collaborate on new ideas.
We try to leverage the experiences and insight from each one of our member nations in order to overcome interoperability challenges.
I think meeting other nations, senior communicators is very important, so that is the base from which we can leapfrog into the future.
This is very useful for Cambodia, so we will continue to support this program and try our best to participate as much as we can.
Pacific Endeavor and the MSIP program take advantage of technology that sparks innovation for future disaster response.
The ability to respond in seconds can save lives.
It's an honor to be here. I'm truly honored to sit among the table of participants who have done so much to help the world during disaster.
I think our efforts in enabling the establishment of rapid, interoperable communications really help turn the chaos of a crisis into effective and decisive response for that crisis.
Nepal will host next year's Pacific Endeavor. They will carry the torch for continuous improvement to reduce response time, increase situational awareness, and resource efficiency during humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations within the Indo-Asia Pacific region. All of this in an effort to save lives.